Mizanur Rahman, Abdul Muhid and Umran Javed were given 6 years each for soliciting murder after calling for 9/11-style attacks on London. Abdul Saleem was jailed for 4 years for stirring up racial hatred. They were arrested after the protests over the Danish cartoons which featured the Prophet Muhammad.
Jihad and Bomb the UK. Abdul Muhid leading the chants during a march on the Danish embassy about cartoons ridiculing the Prophet Muhammad. Today, he and 3 others were sentenced for a total of 22 years for incitement to murder and inciting racial hatred. Supporters gathered outside court today angry. They said their friends were punished for simply protesting. This case is fundamentally about the freedom of speech. Now, given the current climate with the terrorist threat, there's no doubt that in the last few years, the interpretation of the law has got much stricter. The upshot is that anybody at a protest such as this needs to be very careful. Anything they say that could be interpreted as inciting murder or inciting racial hatred just won't be tolerated. Do you think the sentences will have any effect on the kind of protests that take place?
Well, I actually made a speech just there. And that's the first speech I made in a demonstration in my life. So my brother's sentences, I say, injustice, has made me even more enraged and even more willing to speak out rather than less.
Are we turning the screws on freedom of speech?
No, absolutely not. And I would say the opposite, that we facilitate every day in London lawful protest and freedom of speech. These men actually went over the line, they broke the law, and you know, these are the consequences of it.
The men argued they just got caught up in the heat of the moment. But in summing up, the judge rejected that, saying their words had been designed to encourage murder and terrorism.